Welcome to another In Wheel Time podcast, a 30-minute mini version of the In Wheel Time car show that airs live every Saturday morning, 8 to 11 a.m. Central.
Oh, that doesn't work.
Right. Everybody else is ready but Tom.
You know, it never fails, does it? Celebrating 10 years of award-winning car talk, it's the In Wheel Time car show. Just ahead, Mr. Mars has an interesting story in his series on banned race cars. This one on the Brabham. Plus, we'll have the upcoming events calendar and today's auto news headlines, along with a couple of guests I think that you're going to find real interesting. So we invite you to stay tuned. It's all just ahead on today's live In Wheel Time car show from Studio A in Texas, USA. Howdy. Along with Mike out of this world, Mars, King Conrad DeLong. We need more, Jeff Zekin.
We do.
I'm Don Armstrong. Glad that you could join us. None of us have had any sleep. And you probably haven't either, because we all stayed up watching the Astros.
Shut out the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah, baby.
Eat that, Boston.
So I have a friend of mine by the name of Bob Boudreau. He used to be on Channel 13 years ago.
I know the name.
He now lives in Prague,
Wow.
and he is an actor. He's a stage actor, and he does a lot of Shakespeare stuff. I know. Great guy. He apparently got himself toasted last night.
Uh-oh.
It looked like bourbon that he was drinking, and he went on after they won, and his rant goes on and on and on, and it is so good I can't even ever begin to tell you how good that rant was. Yeah, it's 5 o'clock in the morning over here in Prague. It's classic. It's beautiful, wonderful. So,
Just another one of your drunk friends.
Yeah. I got them all here, too. There's that.
We're all out.
We're all out.
We're out.
So we're waiting on Todd. Is that correct, Mr. Mars?
Well, I got a picture of Todd. I just got to get the audio going.
Oh, that would be a good thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
Todd, wave at us if you can hear us.
Yeah, do that.
Todd can hear us. So. Now I need to see if I can hear Todd.
Hi, Todd. How are you?
Good. How you doing, guys?
Very well, thank you. It's good to be with you this morning.
You want to bring him up? Here we go.
Pardon me?
Yeah,
We're all trying to get our act
we've been here
together.
for 2 hours trying to get our act together.
Todd,
and
did you happen to stay up for the game last night?
I did actually. I was. I'm a musician also, so I had a gig, and they had the game on during the gig. So it was good.
So you're just now coming back from that.
Yeah, you haven't had any sleep either.
Yeah, he's on his way home.
I don't know why I agreed to this.
We don't know either. Matter of fact, we don't even want to do the show this morning, so we'll just call it all off.
We're looking for a best of.
So what instrument do you play?
I'm a guitar singer.
Oh, okay.
And Jeff
Jeffrey's
is a drummer.
Yeah.
So if you need a drummer, we got Jeff Zekin over
There you
here.
go.
Don
geez.
Don
Now we
plays
got
the
a band.
organ.
Yeah, I play the organ. Don't ask me what kind.
It's a
I don't want to go there.
So we can assume that you're sitting in your record-setting car.
As a matter of fact, the whole family's sleeping, so I figured I would go out to the garage.
You know what? You need to fire it up. Let's hear it.
Oh, I don't think that might wake the
Yeah,
whole
no,
family up.
let's not do that. So this is a what's called the Blackhorse Turbo, and it's a 997.1 Porsche GT3 Turbo, right?
That's right. That's exactly right.
So tell us about the car.
Of course, it was born in Stuttgart as a nationally aspirated GT3, as they all are, and we got the crazy idea to put turbos on it to kind of make it more like a GT2, but with a narrow body. And the goal was to build a fast half-mile car with a narrow body, with a lot of power, and try to take on the challenge of rear-wheel drive only. So. It only has two wheels powering. We nearly make 1,500 horsepower now, so traction's always an issue.
Out of a 3.6 liter?
Well, it's currently a 4-liter.
4 liter.
So yeah, it was a 3.6 from the factory, but now it's a 4-liter.
1,500 horsepower out of 2 Coke bottles.
So is this a flat 6?
Oh yeah.
It still is a flat 6-boxer motor. The same engine case that it's a stock engine case. You can't really modify these Metzger motors except for the internals. So all the internals, the crank, pistons, rods, everything's been upgraded to the strongest available parts.
Who did the engine work for you?
So currently, Evo Spec out of Phoenix does all of the engine work, the engine development on this car for the past 5-6 years. Fortunately, they support this racing habit that I have, but because without them, it would be a little too expensive, because we build this motor, and we have built this motor 5 times, just testing new things out, testing what this thing can handle. And I think we're at a point now where it's, quote, reliable.
Cool. So when you talk about the upgraded engine parts, crank rods, pistons, and such, typically, in my view of the world, most of the people that are selling upgraded Porsche parts are selling parts to go road racing. How do you find a vendor that's going speed racing, for lack of a better phrase, to collect parts from? Or do those parts that you're putting in kind of have a dual use?
That's a very good question.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, these cars are generally supposed to be road course cars, and that's exactly what they're made for. But there's a community out there of high-speed junkies that will take any car and turn it into, a 200-mile car. We've got guys making, Honda or Acura Integras going over 200 miles an hour. So we're all in this group of people who make cars do what they're not supposed to do, basically.
And what group is this? Because we want to be a part of that.
Well, there's events all over the country. Shift Sector is one that do 5-6 events a year, half-mile racing. Texas 2K here in Houston. There's a lot of events, the streetcar takeovers that are held at racetracks. All these events are either held at racetracks or airports. And we need the airports because, the runways are 4,000 to 7,000 feet long. And, some of these cars need that extra room to stop. But getting back to your question, the engine parts, generally could go both ways for road course and for high speed stuff. Okay. But Evo Spec is generally producing high horsepower, reliable engines in the 12 to 14 to 1500 horsepower range. There are a couple making over 1900, wow. But we're having a hard time keeping those things together.
Yeah, it's kind of like a nitro car at the drag strip. It's pull a pin on a grenade, make 1900 horsepower for a very short period of time, and then rebuild or replace. Yep.
Is this a streetable car?
Oh, 100%. I took it to work yesterday.
I took my 1,500 horsepower Porsche to work.
He works
yesterday.
at the airport.
Well, I mean, we can't see the outside of the car, but does it look stock?
It's completely stock from the outside. There are no aero changes. The wheels are stock. So from the outside, it looks completely stock.
Yeah.
It's just a little louder than the normal GT3.
and the fact that it's got roll cage inside of it.
Yeah, a lot of the GT3s have the roll cage because they're road coursing these cars anyway. So this one I have, actually, I don't know if you can see, I got a GoPro still stuck up here from the event.
We see it.
I literally pulled it off the trailer yesterday to take it to work because my truck was getting an oil change. So I'm like, I might as well take it.
Fun. Why not? Yeah.
It's a good day to take it, too.
So when you take it to set these records, and I believe your record was 2:09 in a standing half mile. So from a dead stop to at the end of a half mile, they speed trap in. You're doing 209 miles an hour. You don't run stock wheels on it. Yeah, stock wheels. The only thing that I run on the rear is as far as a tire is a Nitto drag radial. Okay.
But the front tires are stock Michelin PS4s.
And they're rated for 200 plus.
There aren't really any tires that I know of that are rated for 200 plus at this point.
Well, that's kind of why I'm asking.
Yeah, I
Because
think the highest rating would be like the 180s, 190s, and that would be a Z or an X.
our ex-tire guy here. Are you going to House of Speed or the Texas Mile next week?
No, I have plans next week. The Texas Mile is a great event. Been going to that for years.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But we've geared this car specifically for the half mile, so it gears out at 217. And so I would ride the rev limiter, and it hits 217, 100 feet after the half mile. So I would just ride the rev limiter all the way out to 1 mile, and I don't need to put that kind of abuse on the motor.
Stress on it.
That's what I was wondering about, because obviously if you're going that extra half mile, there's got to be some abuse, because I've seen a couple other people say they're not going to run the mile anymore. They're going back down to the half mile, and even some of them talking about quarter miles.
Yeah, we can't run the full mile in this unless we re-geared, and 20, 30 seconds at wide open throttle on these engines is a bit much to ask.
Yeah, that's what I would think.
And what when you're going through the traps at 209 to 217, what's your RPM?
At the half mile now, we're still, I believe, somewhere around 6,800, and it revs out to 84.
Wow. Okay. Well, and when does the aerodynamics when does the airflow over the car have that big of a negative impact? At what speed do you realize that that's where the power has to overcome that much more?
You got to hit a wall at some time on that.
Yeah, I would imagine, Porsche has engineered these things probably to be more efficient within the 160, 180 range. But the car is completely planted. It drifts a little bit in the middle of the run, maybe about 180, 190. It'll move maybe a lane, but, at high speed, you just let it do its thing, and you just follow it. And once it hits about 200, it really doesn't move, and it just rides it out very smoothly. I mean, the only thing we haven't done is taken off the wing, but I don't know if that's going to really provide any advantage.
But you do tune the wing to get your speed, though, don't you?
The car has completely 100%. All the aero is not changed. So whatever came from the factory, the GT2 or GT3. 9971 wing.
Wow.
We haven't changed anything. Front arrow, rear arrow.
Is that a requirement, or is that something that you just want to keep it as is?
No, there's no requirement. You can do what you want at these events. The only thing we may have considered is taking off the side view mirrors, but and I do tape up the sunroof because the sunroof decides to want to lift, at 200 plus. So we tape that down, but that's about it for aero.
Do you also tape the front? I'm sorry. I'm gonna use a Corvette term. Forgive me. The frunk gaps in the door gaps, or do you? Do you not mess with that?
Yeah. No. I probably would, but we have to access the frunk before each run, because that's where the ice box is. Because this car runs air to water intercoolers, because it didn't come with intercoolers and doesn't have any inlets to allow air into the intercooler. So we have a tank in the front that we put ice in, and it runs ice water through each run. So our intake air temperatures, start at 60 degrees, and they don't climb much because it's ice water running through. So the engine always thinks it's the fall outside.
Well, dense air is oxygen-rich air makes horsepower. The more fuel you get.
Ice in the veins. Ice in the veins.
What year is this car?
It's an 07.
An 07 car. How many miles does it have on it?
Just over 50.
50.
Half a mile at a time.
Half a mile. But no, he drives it back and forth to work, apparently.
I'm just joking.
Joking. It's a daily.
That's just
neat.
I'm just trying to absorb all of this, thinking, wow, 1,500 horsepower car. Okay, so when you go side by side at say a drag strip, who are your competitors? Who's able to keep up with you?
This car actually competes really well with the twin turbo Lamborghinis and R8s that are in the 14 to 1,500 horsepower range.
Yeah.
And all those cars have a DCT or automatic transmission to where they just hit the gas and hold on.
Right.
In the meantime, I'm over here shifting. So what I like about these events is that it's not an ET competition. It's a trap speed competition.
Right.
So they could leave and launch as hard as they want because all that matters is the trap speed. I had my closest race this weekend against a 1,450 horsepower R8 that he trapped 209 and I trapped 208.9. So it was 1/10 of a mile an hour slower.
Wow.
So we're real proud of this car competing with those cars because those cars are monsters.
Plus, they're all-wheel drive.
And they're all-wheel drive.
Right.
Yeah.
So the traction issue makes a big difference.
So besides changing the rear tires on the car, do you do any special tune to the car when you're going to do these events?
Versus your street tune.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. The Cyvex, it has an aftermarket ECU standalone. So we're not using the Porsche ECU. We're just using a Cyvex standalone, which is tuned by Wayne Potts. And we do tune at the events after we've done some dyno runs. So we'll do a couple of dyno pulls before each event, have a pretty good idea of what the car's health is. And then when we get to the events, we'll do some passes and then they'll check the logs. He'll make changes in between each run. And it's usually me asking for more PSI. But normally when the car is healthy, all they're doing is just adding more PSI, which is what we did recently in Abilene. The car is so dialed in that all they were doing was giving me more boost, and it was just getting faster and faster.
Are you worried about blowing it up?
Right, all the time.
Every run.
Yeah, I mean, it's always in the back of your mind because I don't lift. Once my foot is fully depressed on the accelerator from the start, it never comes up. I just clutch and shift. As a matter of fact, I don't even need the clutch because I have a dog box. And so the dog rings allow for engagement without the clutch, but we use the clutch pressure to cut throttle between each shift just to keep the boost up. So on the street, yeah, I can run full power because we run E85, just ethanol gas I can use from the pump.
I'll be darned.
How many folks are in your group? And you say we tune and we do this. Is there a crew?
What's your
crew
support crews look like?
Did you recruit these people from the bowling team? Or I mean, it's like that's what it sounds like to me. You know, the Friday night bowling team. Well, let's see what we can do this week if we can get a couple of 300s out of it.
Just don't touch anything else.
The only thing that's missing is the beer.
Whoa. We'll get to that.
And we're glad for that. Thank goodness.
That's later.
That's right.
But yeah, I do have a team. I've got a great team. I got Steve Ott at Driver Source who takes care of the car in between events. Wayne Potts does all the tuning with the Cyvex, and John Bray at Evo Spec builds the engines. He keeps me sane because he covers all the engine development. So anytime the car has a problem or the engine has a problem, he takes care of it fully. He's one of my sponsors, so he takes care of all of that for me. So it's some weight off my back when I'm at the events because I know he's there, the tuner's there, and everybody's making decisions together. So it's not just me in case it blows up. They don't just point the finger and say, you should have lifted, you know?
Right. How did you meet these guys and bring this team together? That's always a curiosity for me.
I know. You just get involved in early on, it was forums. We were all in like a Porsche forum and modification of Porsches. And then just over the years, you just develop friendships. And, if I didn't have this team, I'd find another hobby because these are the best guys in the business, especially for Porsches. Wayne does tuning on all, Lamborghinis and basically anything a Cyvex is in. But John Bray at Evo Spec, all they build are Porsche motors. So I've just lucked out and I have a really great, support crew.
So one of the things you had mentioned way back at the beginning was that you chose the GT2 because it was a narrow body, the GT3 because it was a narrow body versus the GT2, which has got the wider rear fenders. purely for aerodynamics, correct?
Right. And you say narrow body. I think the GT3 is probably 1 inch, narrower than a GT2 probably. But, that was just the whole idea, just to cut down on the wind resistance and try to buy a more slippery car. And then it's turned into more of it's unique. There are only a handful of turbo GT3s in the world. So, I don't know if it's stupidity or, wanting to be different, but it
the
definitely
novelty
is unique.
of it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but it's just the uniqueness of I've got one, nana boo-boo, I set the record.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
There's only one GT3 turbo at these events, when there's could be 10 Lamborghinis or whatnot. So it is fun to be unique. It's a head turner. A lot of people come up to us in the pits and say, man, this is my favorite car at the event. And, it's just so cool to see this with rear-wheel drive competing with these big cars.
Do you have any friends that have Corvettes out there in the circuit that you run in?
Of course. Yeah, I would probably say Corvettes are the most popular car at these events.
And then the CTS Vs. There's, when I went to, there was one, this was a number of years ago, out at Marble Falls, out at the airport at Marble Falls. And I went out there as the announcer, actually. And I was amazed at the wide range of cars that were there. I was expecting all high-dollar exotics to be there running this. There was some guy running a 79 Pontiac Trans Am.
Oh, yeah.
And then just a flood of what I looked at as probably streetable CTSVs that were generally in the 140 to 165, 169 range. And then, then the underground racing twin turbo Lamborghinis and such, and they were all the only cars that were really running
no station
north
wagons.
of 200.
Yeah, well, what a unique thing that you got going there. I'm kind of jealous in a way. And so, when do you normally have these get-togethers? Is it a Saturday, a Sunday? How does that work usually?
Yeah, these events are normally over a weekend,
Gotcha.
Saturday and Sunday. Some of the larger events, can go over 4 days. But usually it's a Saturday and Sunday or just a Saturday. Yeah.
Well, Todd, will you please stay in touch with us and let us, because we want to be your race fan and we want to keep up with you and how things are going, who you competed against and speeds and where you're going next. So will you do that for us?
Yeah, absolutely. And if your listeners want to follow, it's Blackhorse Turbo Racing on Instagram and on Facebook. And you can follow everything that we do. I try to post, try to keep an open book. And what was funny, a friend of mine is at Nürburgring this weekend, and he sends me a video, and he's sitting next to these guys at a pub, and he goes, "Hey Todd, you're famous. These guys know about your 209 record here all the way in Germany."
There you go. Cool.
Yeah, well, now you got some more fans here in Sugar Land.
There you go.
We really appreciate you taking the time, getting out of bed this morning. Now you can go back to bed and breathe easy.
All right, guys. Great talking to you again. I really appreciate the invite.
You too. Thank you. We appreciate you as well. Hey, you're on the In Wheel Time Car Show. If you'd like to get in touch with us anytime, shoot us an email. The address is info@inwheeltime.com. Time now for the events calendar. Conrad always manages to put together the events. So what's going on?
Again, Nifty 50s, and they kind of swapped. It was supposed to be this weekend was supposed to be their trunk or treat event, and because they were anticipating some rain tonight, they went ahead and moved it till next week.
Well, it should be next weekend anyway.
Right, well,
because it's Halloween weekend.
That's kind of what I thought, but Randy had it originally set up for this week. So, but they're going to do their trunk or treat event again up at Grogan's Mill. The Monster Classic, Saturday, October 23rd, Saturday, October 30th. And then Kima Car Meet, as always, 6 to 9 p.m. And then next Friday is, like we talked with Todd, is the Texas Mile down at Chase Field out in, not Giddings, I was going to say Giddings. But Did I goof that up already? Don, I drive you nuts with this, don't I?
Yeah, you do.
And then,
you've already rehearsed it because you put it down on the piece of paper, then you ball it all up.
October 29th, starting at 9:30 a.m. through the 31st, ending at 4 p.m., is the Texas Mile at Chase Field. Also, next Saturday is the Chaotic Coffee Halloween at the French Press Coffee House in Houston. And then the 13th annual Halloween Car Show in 415 Barron Springs, which is the funeral home or the funeral museum off of I-45 up near Rankin Road. And then I'll give it back to you, Don.
Back to you.
After this, you give it back to me.
It's a throwback.
God.
The weird thing is I actually do practice this, and then I look at you and I
don't tell anybody that.
Not very well.
You and I
don't
go,
need to practice that.
Yeah, well, it's supposed to be a 1-minute little featurette.
You make me nervous,
and you turn it into a 2.5 minutes. Yeah, 7.5. All right, let's move on. Mr. Mars' turn. Let's see what he can do with banned race cars and the Brabham.
Yes, we're going to be talking about the Brabham.
No, we're not going to be. We are talking about the Brabham.
Did you rehearse this?
We're going to start.
Nobody has gotten any sleep, so forgive us, please.
We're going to start with the BT46. Now, this is a Formula One car, and it was designed back in the 70s for the 1978 Formula One season. Did a lot of little things with this vehicle. And, Jeff, hold it right there for a minute.
You bet.
And this thing is running a flat 12 engine. It's really kind of cool, I think, to be that big because it'll turn out 520 horsepower at 12,000 RPM.
Wow.
So this thing, it gets up and buzzes. So it did a lot of things as far as the suspension, the magnesium alloy block, aluminum crankcase. And, it did this combination with aluminum heads. It did a lot of things here, including originally taking out the radiators and putting some heat transfer devices on the side panels of the car. And the idea was to eliminate the weight up off the nose, put the weight on the middle of the car, closer to the engine, make it more stable and grip the road better. Unfortunately, it didn't have enough cooling, so that didn't last very long. It didn't take them long to throw that out. It was running a 6-speed gearbox. And what really set it off, Jeff, if you go to the next picture, please, they came out with the B car. Now, we talked before about how the J2 was a car with fans that were run by a separate motor that got banned. Well, this one took the fan and tied it to the engine, the V12, the flap 12, so that it ran off of it. And again, same concept. They streamlined underneath the car. It sucked the air out from underneath the car. Of course, it was originally put in for cooling purposes. Needed more cooling on this 12.
They needed to pull more air through the cooling system.
So cool it. But this ran off the engine. So when they revved the engine, even setting still, they could rev the engine, the fan you could see the car suck down. You could see it drop down. So that kind of sounds like that's really cool, but you got to think about you're going through a curve. You're going to let off the gas a little bit so the grip on the road changes as you're driving the course. You let off the accelerator, it loosens up. So it created some problems for the drivers. They didn't particularly care about it. And Mario Andretti said it was like a vacuum cleaner, and he hated it. They all protested
so it sucked.
Yes, it sucked really bad.
It probably threw debris at the guy behind you.
Well, that was his complaint, that it was throwing stuff. Of course, they said that the air coming out of the fan exit was only at 55 miles an hour, regardless of how fast they were going. But if you think about it, tied to that V12, how do you know that? If it's doing 12,000 RPM, that fan in the back is going to be doing something close to that. Anyway, so they did have this big thing over it. They finally decided it could race for that season. It could finish the season, but then it was out.
And had to do.
But it won that one race that it ran in. After that, they pulled the car off. Too much controversy, but it wasn't technically banned. Yeah, it was, because they said after the year, it was over. You're out.
Another fine banned race car story.
So if you clean out your vacuum cleaner, does that make you a vacuum cleaner?
Okay. The In Wheel Time Car Show streams on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and InWheelTime.com. Podcasts are available from your favorite podcast provider. In Wheel Time Car Show continues right after this quick break.
Let me tell you about a locally owned and operated group of dealerships called Bayway. Bayway owner Daryl Wisniewski is born and raised right here, and he knows Houstonians better than anyone. Daryl's been in the Houston car business since high school. Houston experience that you just can't get at other dealerships. Once you step into a Bayway dealership, you'll want to become part of the Bayway family too. Feel good that you're part of Houstonian-owned Bayway Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.com, BaywayChevrolet.com, and BaywayLincoln.com. Remember the name, Bayway. Tailpipes and Tacos, Houston's premier monthly cruise-in, will return Saturday, December 18th to the Loopy Tortilla Tex-Mex in Katy. Tailpipes and Tacos wants to thank all of the participants and fans who've enjoyed the collector cars, hot rods, customs, originals, and resto mods, and everything in between. We'll be taking a break for Thanksgiving and Autorama, but we'll be back for a great Christmas cruise-in on December 18th, so make plans now. You know that Tailpipes and Tacos is the Houston area's coolest cruise-in, a place you'll see friends, family, and the finest cruise-in cars in the Houston area. It all happens at the Loopy Tortilla Tex-Mex in Katy on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10. Get your ride ready for a very special Christmas cruise-in, Loopy style. It's Tailpipes and Tacos, Saturday, December 18th. The In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show will be there too. Let's celebrate the Christmas season together at the next Tailpipes and Tacos on December 18th. We'll see you then, weather permitting. Gulf Coast Auto Shield has moved to a more convenient location. Now you can visit John Gray and his staff of dedicated professionals at their new shop on the South Sam Houston Parkway between Belford and Airport in Southwest Houston. Gulf Coast Auto Shield is the best at paint correction and ceramic coatings. Clear bras and custom wraps are specialties that only Gulf Coast Auto Shield installs with award-winning accuracy, and all their services come with a warranty. Lamborghini, Aston Martin, Porsche, and Ferrari owners depend on Gulf Coast Auto Shield for their specialty services, and you should too. The In-Wheel Time Corvette and Cutlass have both been massaged by Gulf Coast Auto Shield, so isn't it time your vehicle visit their new shop in Southwest Houston? Call John Gray today at 832-930-5655 or visit online at gcautoshield.com. That's gcautoshield.com. Paint, coatings, wraps, and more at gcautoshield.com. That's it for this podcast episode of the In-Wheel Time Car Show. I'm Don Armstrong, inviting you to join us for our live show every Saturday morning, 8 to 11 a.m. Central on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and our InWheelTime.com website. Podcasts are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeart Podcast, Podcast Addict, TuneIn, Pandora, and Amazon Music. Keep listening, and we'll see you soon.